these plant-based medicines, drugs that are shown to be effective to control blood glucose. But what I'm saying is, it is not true that all herbal products are safe. All herbal products.
So of these 2,000 herbs you mentioned, they're not all necessarily going to
yeah,
work
and
for
then
you.
the I say 1,900 of them are toxic. So there are very dangerous herbs.
So this is not something to just enter into lightly.
Yeah, for example, some are toxic, even fatal. So, and other herbs, actually most of the diabetic herbs we see on the market in North America, they are anti-diabetic. They lower blood glucose by inducing artificial indigestion, meaning that if people, even if people take food, it doesn't get digested. Therefore, you see lower blood glucose. I think that's not healthy. But anyhow, if you just look at the end result, it lowers blood glucose.
Right.
But it lowers blood glucose at a very high price.
But let's go back to P700 for a moment. You said during the break that people that don't have diabetes can take this drug as well. Or, sorry, this drug, it's not. It's a natural remedy.
That's correct.
Say more about that.
For example, myself, I don't have diabetes. My children, they don't have diabetes, but we all take this. The reason is, at first, let's talk about pancreas. If we keep our beta cells healthy,
right,
and then about the insulin resistance, if we keep our insulin resistance upregulated, basically we are preventing diabetes.
right.
So that's the fundamental mechanism that leads to the diabetes. If we cut those mechanisms before it becomes diabetic, of course we are preventing. Actually, we did quite a bit of study here. We at first made many animals become diabetic. So there's a mechanism that triggers the animal to become diabetic. And then one group, this P700 was given. The other control group was not given. And then that group that was not given this P700, they all became diabetic, while 70% of the animals that were given P700, they didn't become diabetic. Anyhow, all the ingredients are regarded good for your health anyhow. So I take this P700 as a general health promotion, not particularly for diabetes.
So general health.
Yes.
And preventative.
Yeah, that's correct.
For diabetes.
That's correct.
And so what's the correlation between diabetes and weight loss, or weight gain, I should say?
Do you remember the vicious cycle we just mentioned just a moment ago? Because of that, once you have diabetes, it is almost impossible to control weight.
You've got everything against you.
Yeah. And then if you are obese, it is almost impossible to control diabetes. So you know, I'm quite frustrated when people say, when you have diabetes, you should control your weight. It's just
how do you do it?
How do you do it? You're just repeating the question. It's not suggesting a solution.
Right.
So for diabetes people, there are inherent reasons why they find it so difficult to control their weight. So there should be something else except in addition to saying you should control diet. It's just repeating the question.
Yeah. So Dr. Kim, are you talking about a medical discovery here? Because it sure sounds like that.
It depends on what the medical discovery is. Medical discovery as opposed to dietary discovery. Medical discovery as opposed to lifestyle discovery. I just don't know what to call, but I'm just telling you, here's the product. 50,000 people used it. They got tremendously happier. And then scientists tested this.
Right.
So I just don't know what to call. But
so whatever you call it, it's having an impact.
Impact, yes, that's correct.
Dr. Kim, is P700 the only natural remedy in the fight against diabetes that you would recommend?
For today's show, I'm glad to introduce two more. The 6-flavor tea, which is a traditional Chinese
6-flavor tea.
Yeah. In Chinese, I can pronounce 6味地黄黄.
Okay, I'm going to leave that up to you. Okay, 6 taste tea.
Yeah.
Great.
And then another tongue twister. This is from India. Pterocarpus marsupium.
Okay, I'll work on that one as well. So you've mentioned 2 different remedies.
That's correct.
Let's start with the 6.
Oh, you can also call it Indian kino.
Indian kino.
Oh, that's better.
Okay, let's work with that one.
Yeah.
So let's start with the 6 taste tea
Yeah.
that you talked about. Can you tell us a little bit? You said it's a traditional Chinese formulation.
It has been used in Asia for many thousand years.
It's very old.
Very old, and then it has been recognized as a very effective diabetes treatment by many governments in Asia. It is recorded in most pharmacopoeia of all these Asian countries.
So, Dr. Kim, for the viewers watching, how do we make 6 taste tea?
6 basically is composed of 6 herbs, 6 taste tea.
6 tastes, 6 herbs. That's logical.
That's correct. And then they are very cheap. It is very common herbs.
Very available, very inexpensive.
Yeah.
Where would I go to a Chinese herbal
So
store?
if you take the list from the internet site we are showing here.
Right, so stay tuned. We'll be showing that website and you can get the specific information.
Yeah, very common. Even without taking the list of herbs, if you go to a Chinese herb store and say, can I get the herbs for 6 flavored tea, they know. And then I'm excited about this formula, not because of its cheap price, but because of its safety.
So say more about that.
Compared with pharmaceutical drugs, this is way, way safer. It doesn't have any side effects.
Hold on a second here, because this is incredible. What you're saying, that this natural remedy, this formulation you can make yourself for $20 a month is safer than a pharmaceutical prescription
That's what
you're
I'm
getting
saying.
From your doctor.
A lot safer. They don't have this herbal treatment have no side effects.
Safe and cheap and no side effects.
Yeah,
That's
and
what we want to hear.
Therefore, before these pharmaceutical drugs, I say people should try this.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about the other remedy you mentioned briefly. I believe
Indian treatment.
Indian treatment, Pterocarpus marsupium.
You are doing very well.
Right. And so how does this? Can I call it PMT?
Yeah, Indian kino.
Indian kino. So how does this differ from the 6 taste tea in terms of its applicability to, you mentioned type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes?
Yeah, there is actually a very particular reason why I'm quite excited about this Indian kino, PMT.
Right.
I believe some of their claims about its effect on type 1 diabetes are convincing.
So Dr. Kim, you've mentioned 6 taste tea, PMT, and we've talked about P700 as well. Are there many other herbal formulations out
as
there?
I said, there are more than 2,000.
More than 2,000 individual herbs, and you talked before about how a lot of these herbs are actually toxic. So I'm curious then, so how can people then get more information on these herbal formulations that we haven't covered in the show today?
Before it was very difficult. Before there were not many information, but these days situation improved. There are a lot of available already, quite available in the internet. So in the website we are introducing at the end of this show, we refer to those websites, and there are many very understandable, very well written papers how to use. Also, I mentioned this 7 criteria.
Right, you mentioned that earlier in the show.
With which you can guide through this 2,000 herbal treatments. We have to avoid certain widespread myth. All herbal treatments are safe. No, there are many fatally dangerous herbal treatments. So
this doesn't get a lot of airtime, what you're talking about, because it seems to me to be a widespread understanding that naturopathic or all herbal, all natural formulations are quite safe and benign. Well, you're saying that's not true.
That's not true. So what is not true either is that it is also wrong to believe that all natural treatments are not effective. That's also wrong. Some natural treatments are very effective, very good, but it's also wrong that all natural treatments are safe. No, some are very dangerous.
So you need to approach this topic with
common
sense and do some research. You're saying there's lots of websites. You're also mentioning that at the end of the show, we're going to be showing the website that you can go to for more information specific to what you're talking about. So very interesting. So You're not a medical doctor.
I'm not a medical doctor.
And you're not here giving medical advice.
I'm not giving medical. I'm today giving a view on the recent exciting development of this natural treatment on diabetes.
Because there's a lot here to talk about, and it's been very exciting.
We are very excited about this recent development.
I can see why. That's great. So, Dr. Kim, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been so interesting.
Thank you very much.
Again, you've been watching The Truth About Diabetes. And if you have any questions, please visit the website that's listed on your screen. Dr. Kim, your interest and desire to help in this way gives us all so much more hope for diabetes.
Thank you very much for
inviting me here.
Thank you again
for being my guest on the show today.
Thank you very much. Yeah.